Alright, good evening and welcome to this review of the new designer's commentary, the new official Errata and the changes to the format of the championship rules. So let's start here with the championship rules. Warband, stack construction, board placement, nothing has changed. So we jump straight into the Forsaken and restricted cards, and we have the following additions. The purple pink kind of tint of the text here are the additions from the last errata. So first up we have Contest of Equals, which was kind of expected. It's a super strong card. You score it after failed attack even. And if the opponent has 0 successes and you have 0 successes, it gets scored every time. So it's very deserving of a restricted slot here. Next up is Everything to Prove. Same goes there. You score it by losing. I think it's a given. Next up is Scant Resources, which I think is kind of an abusive card. Sure, it's only 2 glory, but it's 2 very easy glory. For every objective being held in this current season is silly easy. And next new edition is Underdog. I'm on the fence here. Underdog is not an auto score, and it's not includable in every warband, but sure, fine. I don't mind it, but it's not as broken as the other cards here. So power cards, Augmented Limbs. So just I'll pair this up with the other accuracy cards here, and then I make my judgment. So Augmented Limbs, limbs, not lips. We have Punching Up and Savage Soldier, and since earlier we had also Savage Visage. I think Inspired Attack may also be added there, but yeah, sure, Inspiration is not something you do immediately often. So and Inspired Attack is only for range 1, I believe. So yeah, I think these are very expected as well. I think stacking accuracy is hurting the game, and I really like to see them included here. Duel of Wits, I mean, I love Duel of Wits. I always include Duel of Wits, which kind of leads into how it should be restricted because it's super strong. I mean, especially with the new reshuffled rule, it's so easy to get to your favorite cards nowadays. So I think Duel of Wits should be here. Partial Resurrection, this is not a surprise either. Super strong card. Daylight Robbery was already included, but there was a typo in the Harrowdeep when Harrowdeep, the new season, was announced basically, and it was strangely enough removed, but I don't think that was intended, so it's back on the restricted list. I don't really care. I don't see it played that much, but sure, it's a super boring card to get played against you, so I certainly don't mind. And Starblast Stalker's Astromatic Alignment, that's when you flip a feature token in enemy territory, I believe. For the Starblast Stalker, it's super easy. I wouldn't really mind them having that card though, because the Starblast Stalkers have taken a huge hit to their objective play in Harrowdeep, but yeah. It is what it is. It's too easy to score it, I guess. Drappus Wraith Creeper have had Bitter Strength and Pall of Fear restricted. Pall of Fear I really like to see because it's a very, very strong effect. Bitter Strength, sure. Bonded for Rippa, yeah, it's also a very strong card, but it's only for adjacent attacks, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I mean, Rippa still is in a good place, so yeah, I don't mind it either. Famed Hunter for Rothgorn. Yeah, Rothgorn is in a very good place, still in the meta, so... Sarbag Skits and Sepulchral God have not very unexpectedly gotten their infestation and claimed the city restricted. My initial thought for these cards was maybe not restriction, but a nerf to 3 glory or 2 glory, something like that. Maybe I would have rather seen the glory tally for it being reduced rather than a restricted slot. Possibly both, I guess, because they are super abusive, and when they were constructed, this season was not in the minds of the developers. So, but very welcome to see a nerf there. Spite Claw Swarm have had Black Hunger and Expendable restricted. I don't mind that either. With Inspired Attack and Punching Up, the Hungry Skaven can really be abusive. So that's the end of that one, and I'm very happy for all these cards being added to the pot here, and especially a lot of these accurate power cards. I think it just forces more interesting deck building, and that's really welcome. And for the objective, all of this winning by losing cards, I really don't mind them being restricted either. So overall, very happy. So let's move on to the Errata. So the Inspire step here, not very unexpected either. So they have added an Inspire step at the end of the round and at the start of the round, basically. At the start of action phase and the end of the action phase. So I have played it like this all the time, and we have in our community. I'm very happy to see this being hard printed here. So this is a huge one, and we can just end that debate now. So very, very happy for that. So fighter traits, and this is a fun part. This is really an addition rather than a correction. So Oberyn the Bold for Steelheart's champion is now a brawler, which will make the upgrade Unfazed really useful for him and all the other brawlers in the listing here. Garrick Reavers, Karsus is a brawler, and Arnulf is an assassin. Not really sure about the assassin keyword, but we will see more of that when the season progresses. The Petitioner in the Sepulchral Guard is a minion, and the Harvester a brawler. I think there's a upgrade that does special things with minions, so maybe useful. So all the Petitioners are. Yeah. And each fighter in the Iron Skulls Boys is a brawler. Very cool. And in the Chosen Axis, Mad Magrum is a brawler. I would have guessed Vol, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind Magrum being a brawler. Spite Claws Swarm, Lurking Skaven, Assassin, yeah, fits in very well. And all the resurrectable Skavens are minions. Not very surprising. And Magor's Fiend, Riptooth is a hunter, yeah, fits him, I guess. Fast Riders, each fighter is a hunter, very, very welcome addition. And Elias Swiftblade is an assassin, actually. Cool. And Thorns of the Briar Queen, each fighter is flying, so, and each Chain Rasp is a minion, no surprises there. Eyes of the Nine, Blue Horror is the Brimstone Horror for that matter, is a minion. For Sarbug Skits, Progdanetta, Dibs Redcap Stickit is a hunter. I was a bit surprised here actually. Maybe not that Progdanetta is a hunter, but I thought the other three would be minions rather, but cool. I like that they are hunters. Gobalock and Bonecracker are beasts. They were already beasts. And in the Godsworn Hunt, we actually now have a Godsworn Hunt with hunters. I really like to see that. Yagathra and Olo. And Shond is an assassin. And Grawl is a beast and a companion to Olo. Yep, he has a couple of cards. I think there's an upgrade and a ploy that rewards you for working in tandem between the two of them, so that's not really a surprise. In the Moloch's mob, we have the Bat Squig, who has become flying and beast. They were already flying beast, but he's now also a minion. Spite Shroom and the Static Squig is also a minion, so everyone except Moloch. Thundrix, Kaskan is flying, and Garrod Alensen is now an assassin. For Eltharis Guardian, Galangan of the Glade is now a brawler. And on Slain, the Revenant Archer is a hunter, no surprises really. And Iron Soul Condemners, each fighter is a brawler. So we have 2 warbands with each fighter being a brawler. Very cool. So the Iron Souls and the Iron Skulls. Both teams with iron in the name. Cool. Lady Harrows, no news there. All of them are flying. Skate's Wild Hunt, Ligane is now a companion to Sheoch. For the Breshrak Despoilers, Draknar is a brawler. For the Grimwatch, the Talon Butcher and the Herald, the guys who can come back basically, are minions. And the Harriers are companions to the Master Talon. Yes, very good. No surprises. Morgoth's Blade Coven. Morgoth is now a priest, and this is a new keyword. Very excited for what that might entail. Exciting times ahead. Kyrsa and Lethir, both of assassins. I think this fits them very well. For Wrathgorn's Man-Trappers, Quiv, Luggit and Bushwhacker are minions, and Thrafnir, no changes there, still a beast. And Wormspat Gulgoch is now a brawler. Yeah, sure. Morgoth's Crushas. Ardskull is a brawler. Only Ardskull, okay. Dreppers, no news there. Mjor's Purifiers. Bahanar is now a brawler. Okay, yeah, fits him, I guess. Dread Pageant Glissette is a brawler. That's a bit of a surprise. I thought rather the Slangor. Is that the name? Slangor? No. Yeah, Slangor. Okay. Storblast Stalkers. Kixitaka is also a priest. So Morgoth and Kixitaka are now priests. So they are not spellcasters, but they are priests. So what does it mean? We don't really know. Clacktrock is a brawler. Obviously, that's not really a surprise. And Otapatal is an assassin. Also very fitting. The Blowpipe. Chameleon Skink. For Kagros Ravier, Dower Kragan is an assassin and Rasek is a brawler. A bit surprised that Kragan is an assassin. When I think of assassins, they should be like sneaky, poisonous guys, and I don't think clunk guys in heavy armor are very assassiny, but that's just my 2 cents. For Headcrackers Madmob, Tooth Dagger and Wallop the Skulls are brawlers, sure, fits them well. Elthine Soulrage, Furine is now a brawler, yeah, sure. And Dreppers, Wraith Creeper, Errata card. Here the Practitioner, yeah, he can only push 1 when uninspired and 2 when inspired, so yeah. That was the wording in every other language except for English, so no surprises really. And this is a very welcome addition here, with Ripa not being inspired with 2 illusion upgrades. It's totally unfair to not inspire the Gods Will Hunt with illusion when Ripa can be inspired in that way. So yeah, very welcome. Here is a huge one for Wrathgorn. Tough and Hide only applicable to Thrafnir. Very, very good. Both thematically and power wise. Wrathgorn still has an upgrade for +2 wounds, -2 move. So paired with Tough and Hide and potentially something like Haughty Resistance, he can just be crazy resilient. So this is a very welcome addition. So I'm very happy for this as well, and I don't really have anything to add. So just move on to the champion format designer's commentary. Inspire step. How do the inspire conditions of the Chosen access, Farstrider, Skates, Wild Hunt, the Grimwatch and the Crimson Court work? Please refer to the Errata. So no news there. How do inspire conditions for the Thorns of the Bright Queen and Dreppers Wraith Creeper work? The fighter in these warbands become inspired in the inspired step that follows the activation in which their inspired condition was met. So if they are adjacent to an enemy when they start the activation, then kill that enemy, they still inspire, basically. So that's not really... Was that even an issue? I don't know. So next question. How do the abilities which inspire fighters in Thunderix, Profiteers, Morgwaits, Blade Coven and Headcrackers Madmob work? These abilities work as written. When you use the ability, the Chosen fighter is inspired immediately. You do not need to wait for the next Inspire step. Oh, very interesting. I guess that's a good clarification. Other FAQs here. Some cards refer to you, i.e. the player flipping a feature token, and some refer to your warband flipping a feature token. Are these the same thing? Yes, finally. I've seen so many discussions about this, and I just boggles my mind that people can spend hours and hours on such silly things, but that's just me, and I'm very happy to end this discussion here. Well, it's not me ending it, but Games Workshop, so thank you. Can I score a search objective if I meet its condition, for example, after an activation, if the condition is no longer met by the following search step? Yes, for example, you meet the condition for stubborn yet. That's when you are vulnerable after an attack against you, I think. Yeah, it specifies here as well. I didn't read it completely. You can score that objective card even if, as a reaction to that attack action, if you play Walk It Off, healing that fighter so that they are no longer vulnerable by the time you reach the search step. Very interesting. So you actually react with a heal and then still score the... Ah, cool. That's then that card is much more useful. You cannot use it. If a card ability or action give you a choice about how to resolve it, as long as you can resolve it at least one way, you can use that card ability or action. However, when you do so, you must choose to resolve it that way. An exception to this rule is a card ability or action that affects each fighter and its variations. For example, each friendly fighter, each enemy fighter, or each other fighter. In these cases, as long as you can resolve that card ability or action for at least one fighter, you or your opponent's fighter cards can use that card ability or action. Okay. So that's very good. So for example, if you have a card that says heal each fighter, there is a heal, I actually played it in the game the other day, that heal each friendly fighter adjacent to one or more enemy fighters. So I were adjacent with Galagan and Scathel, and only Scathel had damage on him. So the card specified heal one each fighter adjacent to one or more enemy fighter. And before this designer's commentary, I actually thought I played that card wrong because Galagan didn't have damage on him, so I didn't think I actually could resolve the ploy because I couldn't fulfill it for both fighters. But now it says each fighter, and you, as long as you resolve it for one of them, you can still play a card. That's very good. It's also very good for one of the cards for the Sandeyes Truth Seekers, which push each friendly fighter one step closer to the enemy fighter, which earlier made it unplayable if one were already adjacent or blocked or anything like that. So, but now it's playable again. Very good. Next purple text here, Skate's Wild Hunt. Can I score Kernot's Snare even if the enemy fighter has the flying trait, or can't be dealt damage by lethal excess? Yes. Yep, very good. I don't think that was really an issue, but I guess that's good to have it clarified. Okay, Contest of Equals. This is very interesting. Can I score Contest of Equals if I rolled one normal success and my opponent rolled a critical success? Yes. The number of successes is the same. It doesn't matter if they are normal or critical successes as long as the attack fails. That's good, but I would like them to clarify also if you can score the card with 0 successes, if the opponent also has 0 successes. I mean, we have to assume that you can, but I wouldn't have minded if they actually clarified that as well. So that's a bit disappointing, I guess. But yeah, that's the end of it. Possibly there are some changes to the other formats as well, but I don't really bother with that now. So this will have to suffice for now. So if you have enjoyed my ramblings, please give us a like, a follow, and a subscription. So without further ado, take care.